Welcome back to Against My Better Judgment, the podcast where two friends,
I'm Tamara Golden.
and I'm Danielle Whiteside, tell the truth, share the lessons, and laugh about the moments that we knew better, but did it anyway. Each week we share real stories about our lives, about the times that life surprised us, stretched us, or just straight up humbled us, and the lessons that we learned along the way.
And this season, it's all just because. Today's episode will be me. And I'll start out with just because I'm spiritual doesn't mean I'm religious.
Oh, this should be a good conversation. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. So, yeah.
Before we do, though, how have you been? I feel like it's been a minute.
It has been a minute. But, it's been a good week. I spent some time watching a play called Newsies.
Oh, I love Newsies.
And this is
been
Newsies
a while, though.
Junior.
Okay, so kids.
Yes, one of my neighbor's sons, RG, was Davy in Newsies Junior. And it was absolutely great. But otherwise, 'tis the season. I've planted my flowers. And
I see them out there blooming, doing, looking alive.
Yep. So it's pretty good. What about, wait a minute.
What?
It looks like you are back from anniversary weekend.
I am. We had a wonderful time. We really did. We don't get a lot of time to ourselves. Yeah. So first of all, just to be on a trip with the two of us was just like a real treat. But we had 3 stipulations because we're so busy. Mm-hmm. We knew we wanted to do something to celebrate our anniversary, but we didn't necessarily do a lot of planning.
Oh, yeah.
So like less than a month before, we were like, oh, we didn't plan anything. What are we going to do? And so we had 3 criteria. We wanted to take a flight that was nonstop to a place that we never been before, neither one of us, and under a certain amount of money. Mm-hmm. And so when we finally did our calculation, we landed on Rochester, New York.
Wow.
Random Rochester.
Wow.
But we had the best time. I mean, we saw some history. Frederick Douglass lived there, so we saw where he was buried. Let me tell you something.
Tell me something.
Did you know Frederick Douglass had been married to a white woman? Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Me
Douglass,
either.
All this talking and all this.
Yes, so he was married for 44 years to a black woman. They had at least 2 children, I think. And then she died. And when she died, he married a white woman. I was very surprised at that.
No clue.
Yeah, me either.
Wow.
Then we went to...
What year was that?
Oh, it was in the 1800s.
Could you imagine in the 1800s?
It had to been very taboo. When we left the cemetery and I started like doing my Googles, apparently the kids were upset, which, back then, they would have been. And then the community was upset, but the woman that he married was an abolitionist, and she was credited with preserving his legacy. So she went to Washington, D.C. and established this foundation for him. And so they're crediting her with the reason why we know Frederick Douglass today.
This is my first time hearing all this.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you absorb it.
I'm just gonna not say anything.
Yeah.
So.
But then we went to George Eastman, who founded Eastman Kodak. Mm-hmm. He has a mansion there, and he has they've turned it into a museum, and then he has there's a photography like museum behind the house that they built on. So we were a little bit late, so we were able to just go see the inside of his home, and that was really neat. And then we went to Niagara Falls, mm-hmm. which was beautiful. Yeah. And they also have in Rochester, Niagara Falls is 2 hours away, but in Rochester they have the Strong Museum of Play, PLAY, which houses like all these games since like the beginning of time. It's like the history of play. And they have the Toy Hall of Fame. They have the Toy Makers Hall of Fame in there. They have Gamers Hall of Fame. So they had like a whole room of like the first pinball machine all the way up to like, today pinball machines.
Did you touch it?
Yeah, we could touch them. We could play with some of them. We could play with, like, they had the very first PlayStation all the way to now. Like, it was very cool.
That's
it was
my
very cool.
jam.
And they had a lot of things. Like, we definitely were like, we taking our kids back here because they had a lot of things for the kids to do.
Okay. Let me know about that trip.
Yeah, but we had a really good time. So I'm glad
great.
it was very random. But that's one of the things that we, even in our origin story, we are adventurers. Like, we just love to go places that we've never been and explore. And so, like, we had a really good time. So
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. That sounds good. You know, which tells me we're probably due for a game night.
oh yeah, we are.
Okay.
Long overdue.
All right.
So with that, just because I am
Just because I'm
Spiritual.
spiritual doesn't mean I'm religious. And it kind of, like, the statement, a lot of these statements kind of beg a question. Like, do I have to be religious? That's kind of how it kind of started for me, because I've always, a lot of you have heard many times on this non-Bible podcast me speak of a lot of different
That's my
religions.
line.
Yeah. Non-Bible podcast. As you can
this is not a Bible podcast,
Yes. You've heard me speak of a lot of different religions, a lot of different beliefs, and it was interesting because I was having a conversation with someone a few weeks ago, and we were just talking about the Quran, and I was like, well, I didn't have to read it, but I read the Quran before I spent 4 months in Senegal, Africa. And it was interesting. The thing that was eye-opening about it for me is that I'd grown up Southern Baptist, and I had a rigidity around just my thinking. And at the time, I went to a Baptist university, which is where I graduated from. So I had a lot of restrictions and rules that came with my religion. And when I read the Quran, I saw a lot of parallels, and you just can never stop a thinker from thinking. So that probably started it for me. That started my drive, my desire to know more. It's probably part of the reason why I didn't become like a journeyman or a journeywoman. They called them all journeymen at the time.
what is a journeyman?
So a journeyman is a person who dedicates, I'm not going to say their life, but a portion of their life to missionary work. Typically overseas, typically what we would think of as third world countries. And I say that typically because I'm far removed from that process. I'm probably 30 years or more out from that. But that tends to be what you do. And so I'd done some work like with the IMB. And so I was like, I can probably make a career out of this. But
So I've never heard the term journeyman.
Really?
I've only heard missionary.
Yep.
So you were thinking about being a missionary.
Yeah. And it was, and so when you
Or
think
journeyman.
or organized. So think about think about these various boards. It's an organized group of missionaries is kind of how I would say it. It's still the same idea, but yeah, it's kind of interesting because I thought that I was going to be a preacher, teacher, and coach when I was literally in
that
school.
world. Yeah,
that's really what I thought. Everything else just happened. I mean, it really did happen. But so we had a conversation about just the Quran recently, and it had me thinking of, wow, what am I? Like, I do believe in a higher power. I've chosen that higher power to be God for me. I respect the ideas of Buddha being a higher power, even Gandhi, Allah. I've just respected a lot of different ideas of higher power. Some folks have objects like things in nature, trees as their higher power. So I've just always kind of been very open to that idea. And so I asked myself the question, well, what's the distinction? Like, what is religion versus spirituality? And what I came up with is religion has an organized structure to it. It has some guarantees. Religion has a foundation or some sort of tenets that a group of people to some degree have agreed is true. So no matter what it is, they believe that it's true. The other thing that comes with religion that motivates me is it comes with a sense of community. It's because you get a community based on like-minded things that you believe to be true. Okay. So I like the community part of religion. I really do. The part of religion that is totally I'm almost contradicting my personality is the rigidity of it. I'm a very structured thinker. I'm very, it's weird because I can be really creative, but a lot of things, there's still even a structure to my creativity.
Go ahead.
So with that, the thing that religion, you would think that I would just be all into religion because of the structure and I can always go and prove my point almost. I can always go.
The Bible says this. It's right here.
Correct. And so I thought about that and I'm like, well, that's not really the thing that really drives me about religion. It's the overarching ideas of religion that I really like. I like the idea of accountability from whatever your religion is. I like the essence or the idea that who I am when no one's looking, when I think of just spirituality and I like the fact spirituality is like, no one's telling me what to do. I've chosen to do this. I've committed to do this. Like if I want to do a Bible study on X, it's a self-commitment to do it without it's my own rules.
Yeah.
And so those are the things about spirituality that have just kind of attracted me because it allows me the freedom to learn and respect other religions.
And you don't think religion gives you the freedom to respect other religions?
I don't. And this is why. Some religions can't allow the idea of another God. Even the idea of them being synonyms. You can even just the idea of thinking like, okay, there's Jesus. He in this context of Baptist is this. As Catholics, Jesus is a little different. It might be equivalent to Mother Mary, right? And then, in this idea, it might be Allah. And so most religions can't even respect another religion. And because if you're a religion and you're spending time explaining why your religion is accurate, then you have automatically removed the freedom for me to understand and dare to challenge or dare to just learn more. And so I really like the fact that I don't feel like I can be religious. I do feel like I can be spiritual. I don't feel like I can be religious without a commitment to a specific religion, and have community.
That's so interesting. Okay, so what's your spiritual practice?
My spiritual practice for me is a lot of what I'm grounded in is two things. First, meditation and prayer, which I guess those may be two. Those are actually two things. So meditation and prayer, those are the things that I do every single day. And the practice of that for me is not the idea of, so I have the meditation piece. For me, the meditation is that time at which God can tell me what he wants for me. He can be God, right? He can really just say, this is for you. Even if it's just the peace and the stillness, letting my heart rate go down. For me, I get early it's amazing what I can wake up, like meditating at night and meditating in the morning. It's amazing the ideas. If something's on my mind, he will give me a solution through meditation. So to me, meditation allows me to, and this is a more common practice with Buddhism, but it's for me, it's God telling me what he wants for me, what he wants of me, and me not doing anything but listening and feeling. Prayer, the way I see it is, it's me almost telling God what to do. It's me saying, now I'm manipulative, I'm trying to be convincing, but in a lot of ways, it's me telling God what to do. God, I want Danelle to have safe travels. God, I want my parents to have a good day. God, I want my dear friend to really heal from grief. God, I really need some rest. So prayer is a nice way for me to tell God what to do.
It's telling God what you want.
Correct.
God's gonna do what God's gonna
is.
do.
Now, whether he does it or not is one thing. So that's kind of the yin and yang. I think it's hard to have one without the other and be fulfilled. Now, I said two things because I kind of put those together because I kind of do them at the same time. But the third thing for me is for real study. Like, I need to hear a perspective that makes me go, that's interesting. For example, I told you that I rotate churches. And when I get to the point in the church to where I'm starting to think that the pastor is more than just the pastor, or my brain, I'm getting judgmental about something that's just so human, has nothing to do with God, then it's time for me to rotate amongst the three churches that I rotate. And then there is another pastor that I listen to on Wednesdays, and that's Alfred Street Baptist Church. I like to listen to whatever they did Sunday on Wednesday, because that teaching works with my brain, like the way in which he teaches. And I'm not endorsing or anything. I'm only speaking to the teaching and how it works for me. And that usually gives me a perspective to like, okay, I'm going to be all right this week. Like, I have to be fed intellectually in many different ways through many different sources. So that's kind of how it works.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, so the way that you described it to me sounds like relationship, like an intentional relationship with God, which is at least what's most important to me. Like, you know, for me, there are a lot of rules with religion, and some of them don't make sense. And so the way that I practice my relationship with God, and I'm adding Jesus in there, is that, you know, there's some things that I feel like he's told me are important to do and observe. And then there are other things I'm like, oh no, we don't have to do that. I don't feel like that's where my spirit is telling me to lead. And so, but what I thought was interesting is your mention that religions don't respect other religions. And
now that was a gross, that
I know,
was definitely,
it was,
let me be real clear. That was a very, very, that was definitely an overstatement. That was, you know, that's, I don't mean that every.
But what I was about to say is there are, like, I know in the Bible that it specifically says that, you know, the only way to get to God is through Jesus. And I believe that, you know, but I also, I think that's where my practice is different, because I respect that somebody else may feel that they can get to God another way. And if that's the way you feel, go right ahead. Like, I'm not going to convince you otherwise. And I do know that there are parts of the Bible that, you know, like, go therefore and make disciples of other people, like try to get people to believe. And I've chosen that the way that I try to do that is by living a life that makes you say, what is different about you, and how can I access that difference? So I'm not going to be the person that's like, now, you know, you need to, I'm just not going to do that. And I feel that I have a better witness that way, living my life as an example rather than beating you over the head with an example. And so I think that if people could respect other people's beliefs, then I feel like we could be better off. And I think better off in the sense of, you know, allowing people to discover the truth that is for them. And I have my truth. And, you know, while sometimes people saying, well, this is my truth, can be used to, like, you know, support a lie. But for some things, this is your truth. If you believe that the truth can be found in this book or that book, like, you know, I even think about the source of knowledge. I was actually thinking about this earlier this week as I was doing something in my closet. And I was thinking, like, sure, the Bible is a source of knowledge, and that is how I derive meaning from a lot of things in life. Even how I lead has a source of biblical foundation, but it's not the only source of knowledge. And like the Bible didn't know that there will be a cell phone, and cell phones operating is a source of knowledge. So, we can't look to the Bible in exclusion to understand everything that's happening, but it is, for me, a foundation to understand everything that's happening in our world. So
I like that. And I also think of the idea of the label of Christianity versus a lived experience. And I think that's I've always considered myself a Christian. Always. That term has been manipulated. It has been used in various ways, appropriately or inappropriately, you decide. But I've always thought of that. But I think more than that, I think of the lived experience. I think of growing up in small town America, being baptized at a Southern Baptist church, and then I think about the process of Young Life and how Young Life, if you've gone to a Southern Baptist church, Young Life has an energy that the church doesn't have. And then I think of both of those today and how both the church as well as programs such as like Young Life, that membership is totally different. It's probably a fraction of what it was, when I was in school, when I was growing up. So it's very interesting. But when you can't explain the Old and the New Testament and make them work, like if you can't remember the Old Testament as the Old Testament, and but there's this thing called the New Testament. I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
If you cannot say it clearly in a way in which I can understand, if you talk about kindness and there are things you're talking about that aren't kind, when you don't know how to navigate the conversation of sexuality, when you can't discuss war, when you can't discuss voting rights and voting obligations, when you can't do those things, it gets really, really confusing to me.
And I think there has obviously been a decline in religion over the years. And, I think people are looking for answers in how to live live a real existence in this real world with what the Bible is saying. And I also, we're about to go down the road here, but I'm going to take us down there. So at one point I thought about starting my own church.
That doesn't keep going.
Because I really feel like the church no longer looks like if Jesus stepped back into the world today, like he came back today and he went to one of our churches, he'd be like, what is this? This doesn't look like what I thought. You guys are supposed to be out in the community. You guys are supposed to be, examples and lights. And you just in here collecting money and shouting and running around. But I don't see like how you're helping. And so one of my ideas was to just have meetups on Sundays where we would talk about the Bible, and then we would leave right there and go do community service. Because I feel like we have to be the hands and feet of Jesus. We're not doing that enough. But anyway.
That would be in my rotation. I might stop rotating.
So I think people are just looking for answers. They're looking for a place that they can go to for that community, because that's still important. We are not made to live on an island. But then actually be able to demonstrate how this faith practice is walking in real life.
And I do believe that, faith practice, I like that phrase, but I think faith is not proven by where we sit on Sundays, but how we're moving, how we're sliding when no one's looking. Yeah. Who have we helped this week, right? What have we done outside of ourselves? Yeah. So it's a different type of imagery. But it's a question that I think we all struggle with from from time to time.
And I think we should, like, if you're in church and you've been in the same church forever because your mama went there and your grandmama went there and you just believe everything that's been said, I don't believe you should do that. I mean, I really think you should be questioning everything.
Yep.
And I think that there are plenty of places in the Bible where people actually did question God. And I think he's open to every question that we have.
Yeah.
That's what a relationship is. Because if I went to my husband today and he asked me a question, I said, well, you can't question me. That destroys our connection and our intimacy.
Yep.
So God wants you to take every question to him and ask him in prayer, in talking to other people who, and in reading the Bible. So, you really should be questioning every single thing. Bring every question to God, because if you're in a relationship, he'll tell you. He'll reveal something to you.
He will.
So what do you think is the main takeaway from, like, just because I'm spiritual doesn't mean I'm religious, or how
I think the main takeaway is to remove the word spirituality and the word religion. Find something that drives you, and it has to have a component of something that's consistently you, no matter who's around, no matter who's looking, that is rooted in something beyond yourself.
Yeah.
However that looks for you, okay. But to your point, if you don't dare to question, then shame on you to some degree as an adult.
Yeah.
So I'd say figure it out, but be open to learning. And I think if that lifelong learning piece, we talk about that a lot. It's amazing how these themes keep coming up, but whatever it is to you, do it. Like these excuses, like, I don't go to church anymore because of this. Because this is a new world. Don't mess up what God has for you, or what your Allah has for you, or what whomever has for you. Don't leave that behind.
Yeah. Go seeking.
Yeah.
And you'll find it.
Yeah.
That's what my Bible says.
I like it.
All right. Thank you for bringing that to the table. And we're going to move on to the Will Be the Judge segment, where we give our qualified yet unqualified opinion.
Yeah.
And so this one comes from Misha. Hey, Misha. She says, I have a quick question. Why is it so hard for me to make simple decisions? I'm talking about small things: what to eat, what to wear, what to watch. I'll go back and forth so long that I end up frustrated or just not choosing anything at all. Meanwhile, I can handle big responsibilities at work with no problem, but ask me what I want for dinner and suddenly I'm stuck. Is this normal? And how do I make making decisions easier on myself?
Wow, Misha. I do believe in decision fatigue.
That's fact.
I cannot, because of course I didn't know this was coming up ahead of time, but I would have looked up the stat of, there's a number of how many decisions we make a day, and it's something incredible.
Yeah, I remember. It was like, it's like in the, like, it's six figures.
Yes. So Misha, I guess I'll just start by saying decision fatigue is real. And that just means, like, today I just want to just show up. I don't want to be the planner. I don't want to be the X, Y, and Z. I just want to show up. And perhaps, I don't know, but perhaps it could be you overextending yourself at work. And maybe it's a balance of those decisions. And the other thing is, Misha, the reality is you could be like at the end of your rope, to where you may just need to process things with another person to determine, just to make sure you're not kind of falling down a hole. But I do think decision fatigue is real. So I don't think anything's wrong with you. I do think that you could maybe garner some help in making some decisions, or even seek help to just process, is this a thing, or hey, do you just have too much going on?
Yeah. I'll say automate what you can. So I don't know if you noticed this, but this was a huge thing. Steve Jobs wore jeans and a black turtleneck every single day. And it was because he made so many other decisions in his day that what he was going to wear, he didn't want that to be one of them. And so the lesson that I took from that is automate what you can. So if I think like things like meal prepping will help. So you just go home and stick something in the microwave. You didn't have to decide. Now, of course, you had to make the decision from the beginning, or like beginning of the week, what that would be. But in the moment when you're most exhausted, you're not having to make that decision. Automating your bills, automate as much as you can so that when you are exhausted, you don't have to rely on yourself for making a new decision. There are times when I find that I've put something away, or I made something easier for the next morning, and then like halfway driving to work, I'm like, oh, I forgot. And then I look in my bag and I put it in there, and I'll say, thank you yesterday, Danielle, because you helped me today.
Yep.
So when your past self can help your future self, that's the way you help yourself be able to make easier decisions. And then if it comes to the point where you're just like, I don't know, it's okay. Like there's sometimes it's okay to sit in that space of I don't know.
Yep.
Like I don't know what I'm going to eat today.
Yeah.
And I'll just go to the first place I see.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes that doesn't contribute to making healthy decisions, but, you take the high stakes of it off. I was just reading back about what you said, like, I'm stuck. And it's just like, girl, it ain't that hard. If you have money in your pocket, just go get something. Or whatever you see first, like just make a game. What's the quickest meal I can make real quick that I don't have to think about? Or
consider delegating.
Yeah, like I said, there's just ways.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that on the next episode. Actually, anyway, just you're good. Just try to automate as much as you can on the front end. So
I like it, Misha. Good question.
yeah,
But now it's so interesting when we've had such a break. We enjoyed this break though.
Yeah, we have. We needed. I had a lot going on. I know you did too. So
man, so that's great. But I guess this is time. I mean, yeah. So against my better judgment, this is our segment. So what you got?
I feel like we had a long conversation on the spiritual part, so I'm going to make this short and sweet. And before I do, if any of the people that I'm going to talk about now are listening to this, I don't mean any harm, okay? I don't mean any harm when I say this. So on my dad's side of the family, my dad was we've talked about this. He had two brothers, but they were not by my grandmother, and he was the only person, well, no, we'll just say he was my grandmother's only son that she birthed.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, and then he grew up and moved away, and for reasons that I really can't speak to because they made personal choices, he and my mom, they really only went home, a few times a year. So his side of the family, I just was not that close to, have not been that close to. And so one of my cousins sent me a message and added me in a cousin group chat with at least 40 people that I do not know.
Oh, you have our numbers, just a whole bunch of numbers.
And I was like, if you don't mind, would you please put your name? Because they started apparently I was added late to the group chat. And so they had already, a lot of people had put their pictures in there. So then I started seeing pictures, and I was like, if you don't mind putting your name with the picture. And then, so to my surprise, though, the reason why they have organized this group trip, why they organized this group chat, is because they're trying to plan a group trip to Jamaica.
Oh, no. You just met them. I'm just asking you your name, and you think we're going to Jamaica to eat Johnny cakes?
So I also noticed that my brother is on this group chat as well. So I'm texting him on the side like, so you going to Jamaica? Anyway, so I think, again, what's against my better judgment is, I don't know what part of that is against my better judgment.
You asking people to put their names.
Yeah, but I don't know you.
These people are 60 years old. Like, what do you mean?
Well, they're I think we're all kind of in the 30 to 60 range. I don't know. And child, I ain't never seen so many Maines because, you know, they in Memphis. A lot of them are in Memphis. So you know, Maine, there's a lot of us in here. And I'm just looking like, who is these?
That is so funny.
So again, still trying to figure out what's against my better judgment. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to Jamaica.
I was about to say, going on that trip. You hadn't made the against my bet. Oh, that is so funny.
Yes. But they did say they wanted to. So what I think the plans are is that they're going to Jamaica in 2027, and then they want to plan a local trip this year to get to know each other, and then. They also said, somebody said, and I think that might have been my brother that suggested, why don't we do a Zoom?
Ancestry.com.
So we're going to do a Zoom chat sometime next month. And I did put that in my calendar. I am committing to being on the Zoom.
Girl, I want to be at your house.
So I have reserved my judgment until after this group chat. I mean, after this Zoom.
I want to be at your house. When we offline, let me know the date. I'm gonna come watch the boys.
Oh my gosh,
so
it's gonna be interesting.
Love
it.
Love it.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll have more stories to tell from
All
that.
right, man.
Yeah. And on that note, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you for having patience with us while we took a little break. And we are so excited to jump back into this season 4 and hope that you enjoy the conversation. If you want us to help you make better decisions in your life, send us an email at willbethejudge@at
againstmybetterjudgmentpod.com. Oh my gosh.
Against my better judgment pod at gmail.com or on Facebook and Instagram at Against My Better Judgment. No, is that right?
It's Against My Better Judgment
pod on Facebook and Instagram. And we'll be back with you.
Y'all, but don't forget, like, click, subscribe. We want 5 stars.
5.
So, but hey, welcome back to season 4,
Welcome back, y'all. As you can see, we're a little rusty, but we're going to get back into it, okay? We appreciate you. See you next time.
Bye, y'all.